Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the invisible flow, mastering basic electrical networks.
You know, if you're studying engineering right now, textbooks can sometimes feel like, well, a massive wall of stressful math. But today, we're going to calmly unpack the beautiful, invisible flow of energy that actually makes up basic electrical installations and networks. Take just a second to look past all those formulas. The device you are literally watching this on is quietly breathing in energy, perfectly balancing it to light up the pixels on your screen. To really understand this and the electrical installations running through the walls of your own home, we just need to meet a few foundational characters.
So let's meet our very first foundational character here, charge. Charge is simply a characteristic property of particles. It's basically the core building block of the entire electrical universe. Protons carry a positive charge, while electrons carry a negative charge, and we measure this whole thing in coulombs. You can kind of think of charges as tiny, invisible drops of water, just waiting to move. On their own, they're just potential waiting to be unleashed.
Now, what actually happens when those drops start moving? Well, that brings us to our second character, electric current. When those tiny charges begin to move together in a steady, continuous stream, they create current. Mathematically, it's the derivative, dq over dt. So basically, the exact rate of flow of electric charge over a specific moment in time. We measure this flow in amperes. If charge is a drop of water, current is the flowing river.
But as we know, a river doesn't just flow for no reason, right? It needs gravity, or it needs a push. And that push is our third character, electrical potential, or as we usually call it, voltage. Frame this intuitively in your mind. Imagine the effort or the work required to physically push a really heavy box of charges from one side of a room to the other. That effort, that pressure, that is voltage.
Okay, so how do these invisible characters actually build the physical world? Let's map out the playground. Whether we're talking about a tiny microchip or a massive household electrical installation, the components divide neatly into two main branches: active elements and passive elements. This is where the magic of the circuit actually happens.
To really get any network, you basically just need to understand this fundamental give and take relationship. Active elements, so think your voltage and current sources like batteries or generators, they are the givers. They supply energy to the circuit. Passive elements are the receivers. They use the energy up, like a toaster turning it into heat, or a light bulb turning it into light, or they safely store it away. It's this perfect natural partnership between the power grid and the appliances sitting in your kitchen.
When we look a bit closer at the passive side of things, we run into the three main elements that make up almost every single circuit. You've got resistors, marked with an R, which calmly dissipate energy, kind of slowing down the flow like rocks in a stream. Then you have inductors, marked L, and capacitors, marked C. And these don't just burn energy away, they actually store it, either in a magnetic field or an electric field. They act like tiny temporary reservoirs.
Now, as current's actually flowing through these elements, the direction sometimes matters and sometimes it really doesn't. A bilateral circuit element, like a simple resistor, is an easygoing two-way street. The operational behavior is exactly the same no matter which way the current is flowing. But a unilateral circuit element, like a diode, is a strict one-way street. It'll let energy pass in one direction but block it completely in the other. Which, by the way, is exactly how we convert AC wall power into the smooth DC power your laptop needs to run. So we've got our characters, we've mapped out the playground, now we just need the rules of the road. Ohm's law elegantly links our core characters together by stating that the current passing through a conductor is directly proportional to the voltage across it, assuming a constant temperature. V equals I times R. Honestly, it just means the harder you push, the more flow you get, limited only by the resistance standing in the way.
And right alongside that, we find what is honestly one of the most beautiful rules in all of engineering, Kirchhoff's current law, or KCL. Seriously, don't look at this as stressful math. Think of it as a rule of perfect natural equilibrium. It states that the algebraic sum of the currents meeting at a node or junction is equal to zero. It's exactly like cars arriving at an intersection. None can vanish into thin air, and none can magically appear out of nowhere. This is exactly why the wiring in your home's junction boxes has to be perfectly calculated. Nature absolutely demands perfect balance.
And you know what? That perfect balance extends to our voltage too, through Kirchhoff's voltage law, KVL. This is the really comforting idea that as energy travels completely around any closed-circuit loop, the sum of all voltages will perfectly balance out to zero. Every single bit of energy supplied by an active source will be exactly accounted for by the voltage drops across the passive elements. Nature leaves no loose ends. Applying KVL is truly just a logical tracking exercise. First up, you identify the closed path in the circuit. Then, as you mentally walk around that loop, you simply track the energy given, the applied voltages, and weigh it against the energy taken or stored, the voltage drops. Finally, you just ensure their algebraic sum equals 0. It's like an accountant's ledger for nature, just making sure every drop of energy is accounted for in a circle.
So the absolutely crucial point here is captured perfectly in this simple rule. The sum of the applied voltages equals to the sum of the voltage drops. If you're ever feeling overwhelmed by crazy complex circuit diagrams in your studies, just return to this low-pressure takeaway. You don't have to force the math, you just have to trust that in the end, nature ensures everything balances out completely. What goes up must come down. What is given must be used.
And I think that leaves us with a really fascinating perspective to ponder. If every single circuit, from a cheap flashlight to the massive power grid running your entire city, inherently seeks this perfect mathematical balance, how does that change the way you view the complex networks powering your world? Hopefully, it transforms the dense study of electrical engineering from a stressful burden into a profound appreciation of nature's hidden equilibrium. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope you carry this calm clarity right into your next study session.